So the business of being married to someone in security services, a spook, an operative, whatever, and not knowing it. So this was a few years ago. This is when I was married. I've only been married once, and it was to this person. The business I'm going to talk about, the aspect in this piece is the handlers. Your handlers are like your manager or supervisor or whatever. If you're a spook, a spy, ghost or ghoul, security services operative, the person that supervises you and directs you to do stuff, and is your mentor in some respects, is a handler. They seem to come in different flavours, different shapes and sizes. So some of these handlers are the ones that I saw. There were two in particular I would single out. One came from down. It's not a big secret. One came from down in Hereford, which is where the SAS and other special forces, SBS, they got some kind of base there in that sort of area, the English-Welsh borders. And this particular guy would come up. And I saw that guy twice. The first time he was just introduced as a friend. I didn't take anything by it. I just saw the guy as yeah. So there's two times I saw this guy. The first time was before me and this particular woman, this person who I have defined now as a spook. The first time was before we got married. The second time was before we got divorced. And the proximity is reasonably of the level where I would say that my spouse at the time, my wife at the time, those decisions were coming to a head, and I know you'll think this is funny, I'm not saying that the handlers are marriage guidance counsellors, but they certainly get involved when that sort of stuff gets talked about, and they're certainly meant to be involved when that sort of stuff gets talked about. Okay, so the first time I didn't see the guy for very long. It was hello, he went out for lunch with this lady who was to become my wife. Okay. Second time, there's a couple of things to this. You mustn't get the impression that spooks don't give a damn about their spouses, where their spouses, even where their spouses are not part of the security services. That's not really true. They will try in a professional way, and this is even more, they're doing their best, but it is in a professional way. They try and let you down gently. So, of course, they know, as many people have found out, you don't have to have a spy as a wife to have this, or a spy as a spouse, husband to have this. But one person usually knows in a marriage that it's definitely over before the other party does. It's seldom both of you know. Pardon me, it's not all encompassing. It tends to be one knows and the other doesn't. Okay, so this handler comes up, and I won't say his name, I'll call him A. He had a particular name of people I don't go on with. I can't say that I apply that feeling to him particularly, but people with this name I don't go on with. So I say this so that my family have an idea of what the name is that I'm talking about. Because there's another person in our sort of extended family, you might say, who I probably can be expected not to go on with, and that person has this name. Anyway, so let's call this person A, first letter of the alphabet. So A comes up, and we're in the kitchen for a few minutes in this town north of Leeds, where A is left with me and I'm left with him. And the point of this is, your spouse is trying to let you down gently. They've already seen that the writing is on the wall for your relationship with them, but they have hidden it. And so this guy knows that this is on the rocks, but he knows that I don't know yet. Okay? That I'm still struggling away, trying to make a living and trying to hold a marriage together. And I don't think that I think it's difficult, but I don't think there's any problem with the marriage. Okay? So this guy says to me, I said to him, he tried not to talk, but there were two of us alone in the kitchen while the wife was upstairs getting ready, whatever. So he's actually sounding me out to see if there's anything they could use me for. You know, it possibly give me a job. So I'll do another piece about this, but that was what he was kind of sounding me out about, I think. But the point is, during this, I said, "Oh, what'd you do?" And he said, "Oh, a metal salesman." And now instantly this goes ping in my head, because I read a book once which was about a spy, and his cover was being a metal salesman. So he's rather unlucky to say that of all things to me, because certain things stick in my head. And that book I'd read 15 years before, or 10 years before, bing. So I said, oh, well, that was one of the things that pinged. But the other thing that pinged is I'm technically minded. So I said, sintered metal, sprayed on metal onto plastic, you know, alloys, specialised high strength alloys. What does he do with? You know, you start talking about austenitic cast iron and stages of cast iron. Right, okay, no idea. So I ended up being slightly embarrassed for him. And at that point he turned to me and he said, I'd said to him, well, look, don't worry about it. Some of the best salesmen I know in IT sell computers and don't know what the ports are on them and stuff. You know, is that for the keyboard or is it an RS-232? Now it'd be USB. Okay. And he turned to me and he said, I guess my cover story needs some work. And I just went, yeah, and I took it to be a kind of ironic statement. You know, I didn't take it as literal. So anyway, so they went off for lunch and that was that. But the next handler type guy I saw, I'll probably have to do another piece on it, but the next handler type guy I saw, he was much more involved on the ground, and that's interesting what that does. Okay, thanks for watching and listening.